Alright, well, this is Aaron Squire and Threshold Matt from the Threshold Podcast. He's here with me for the 50th episode. Some people said it couldn't be done. Well, we're doing it, son. We're doing it. Tonight on Deck Building with Squire, we're going to talk about some of the lawsuit stuff briefly, because there's really not a lot to talk about. The YouTube giveaway that I got crazy go nuts spammed on this morning. It was a pretty interesting experience. Some of the 1v1 queue stuff, a set 2 update. Then we're going to go over doing some mill deck. You know, there was a request on my YouTube giveaway to do a mill deck, so we're going to do that. And then after the show, there's going to be some crazy go nuts, like Oprah style giveaways, like you get a card, you get a card, you get a card, something like that, right? So I think we're going to go ahead and start things off by stealing a little something from Matt. He did get to his 50th episode before I did, so congratulations on that. And, tell me what you've been doing to Hex lately.
Well, you know, I have a couple of pro player accounts, so I've been...
Right,
I did my 2 drafts, and I finally broke my slump of losing miserably. With a deck I definitely thought wasn't gonna make it, so that's usually how it goes, it seems.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I've drafted some pretty nice stuff the last 2 weeks, and first round right out, had like some nice removal, and not crazy bombs or anything, but I thought I had some evasion and stuff, and just you get flooded or you get screwed, and it's just not there. Yeah, I mean, and you're like, man, this is the best deck I've ever drafted, and then you go in and you get like 7 shards in your opening hand, and it just does not work out well for you. You come up against Cottontail Ronin, can't deal with it.
Oh,
OP,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Cottontail Ronin plus like a Ruby Aura or something silly like that.
Yeah.
Oh well. Let's get on with the news. I think people are ready to talk about some news stuff.
Yeah, exciting week.
We're going to talk about some of the subs when we get to that part of the news. But first things, we're gonna get with the not so nice stuff. The lawsuit update. This is a quick update sent out by Mock 012 on the Reddit subreddit for Hex. There's really not a lot to talk about here. It was they just basically clarified some stuff because they sent some things up to the judge last time. The judge was like, this isn't specific enough, and then they sent some other stuff up and it's more specific now. And then I guess Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro is asking Hex LLC questions like to define certain things, like is Corey Jones the president of Hex LLC, that type of thing, like who's in charge, that a bunch of different questions. So it's really not a lot to talk about. I think Matt, you said you didn't really want to, even really chime in on this, right? Or
yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, we know this is going to be a long, drawn out process. Probably, it's a court, a court case. So
yeah,
and especially in corporate world, these usually take quite a while to resolve, and it doesn't really do us any good to try to. It's like we're basically children, and our parents are having to deal with some stuff. And you're like, I shouldn't concern myself with what my parents are doing right now, because
sure,
no matter what happens, I'm going to have to live with it. So
yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. So let's move on to something that surprised me. It took me a little bit off guard. So I don't know if you guys knew, but I was doing this giveaway, and I set it up either on Saturday or Sunday, and I think it was Sunday morning, actually. I set it up and I said, you know what, I want to get some more subscribers for YouTube. Plus I wanted to like hook up some of my YouTube people, because I hadn't done a whole lot. Like, I do a lot of giveaways on the show live, but then people are probably seeing it on YouTube and they're like, well, what about me? I can't come for the show. I have, other games that I play on Fridays or stuff like that, or maybe they have a hot date or something. I don't want to get in the way of their dating life or anything. So I said, you know what, I'm going to set something up for my YouTube peeps. Something's going to be crazy, hasn't been done yet. At 300 subscribers, I said that I would give a pack to everybody that had posted on the video, on the contest video. And then at 350 subscribers, which it didn't even really get that far last time. Like last time I had 200 something. I was trying to get to like 300, and I didn't get to 300 obviously because I was still, I was clunking around, and it really petered off with that one. But on this one, someone took it upon themselves. Mr. I guess his game name is Light. He decided to post it both on the Reddit thread and also on the Hex main forum, so you can see his post here. And this morning I woke up to 147 emails, which were from YouTube saying that people had posted and subscribed to me. It was like, I don't know, it was just a weird experience to wake up to. I did hear my phone going off at night a little bit, so yeah, so live and learn. So it's probably going to be, so everyone's going to get 3-packs that posted properly on there, gave me their in-game name. I saw there was a couple people that didn't post their in-game name to me, so I'm going to try to message them through YouTube to get that from them, because I knew what they meant. But I had to basically shut it down. I was going to take it all the way up until the first week of December, but I got kids, so and I
got mouths to feed. I can't be doing this. I got mouths to feed,
Yeah, exactly, right? So so it's basically going to clean out my inventory, which is great, actually, because it'll set me up. I'll have this nice clean inventory. I'll be ready for set 2. People will get to draft. I'll get a whole bunch of draft packs out there. It's probably a little bit more than 100 people are going to get 3 packs of cards. So pay $1 and you get to draft, and that would be great. There's been a little bit of a die down on the drafting. It's been a little bit tougher for us to get drafts in lately, so that'll be good. I think it'll be great for the community. I really congratulate everyone who participated and won. It really made me feel pretty good, and I got a ton of really great comments. Just in case you guys hadn't seen the video, I'll go ahead and pull it up here. It's set to private now, so no one can post on it, but just for posterity, here's what the video looked like. Actually, I gotta switch screens here. We'll go to the full screen mode, and yeah, Matt, feel free to talk over this and make fun of me while this is going on here. Here I am trying to act. So we're gonna do this right before the kids wake up. Hopefully they won't get up for
talking about this.
I've got so much stuff to give away right now.
Good,
I've got a Broski Busk. I've got a Jovial Pippet, a bunch of sleeves. We really need to get my
junior high theater
right now. Yeah, I know, right? Let's see. My subscribers right now are at 278. Let's say that I started at 278. I'm now at 400 subscribers, by the way. We can get this to 300 subscribers. Then everybody that posts on this video. This is over, by the way. This doesn't count. Okay, you can't post on this video and get this. Okay, do these giveaways. This is just us showing you the video. 10 different giveaways. So, but if I can get up to 300, so yeah, but that's the basics of the video. I'm also going to be giving away all the rest of my promos from Gen Con to my YouTube followers. So really, big thanks to all of my YouTube followers there. But yeah, definitely next time we're gonna do a much more finite contest, so that way I can gauge how much. Like I figured, what, maybe I'll get 50 people, and that'll be like 3 packs. So that's like, what is that? That's 150 packs of cards. I was like, I've got 200 at the time. I actually went and opened up all of my what is it called? The ones for the
guild leader or something?
The guild leader one, yeah. I actually got all those, and I went ahead and got those in preparation for this. So, but yeah, so many disclaimers. Yeah, well, I try to do my best. But everyone that did post will get their 3 packs. Rest assured. I'm going to try to get them out. Hopefully, maybe this weekend, but it might take until next weekend because it's going to be a lot to parse through. On top of that, additionally, just so you guys know. If there were 36 packs in a box of cards, which is the typical thing, there were other card games where there were 50 packs, so it was 9 card packs, so I don't count that the same. Typical box of cards is 36 packs. So if I'm giving away 300 packs of cards, that works out to, carry the 1, about 8 boxes of cards. So that's what I gave away with this contest. So definitely make sure that you know how much you're going to do if you decide to do a contest for your own stuff. So live and learn there. Matt, anything else to mock me with on that somewhat debacle but nice thing for the community?
Uh, if it was like April 1st or something, I'd probably prank you right now and probably be like, "Weren't you talking? I swear didn't you just say that you were going to give out a bunch of packs to the people that posted in this episode
Yeah,
as well
April
as a 50th
Fools.
celebration?"
As a 50th celebration. Yeah, and by the way, thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up because we will be giving away some cool stuff. I actually, just as a preview, I have at least a primal pack to give out and a whole bunch of rares and some legendaries and stuff. I wrote them all down. They're on this list right here. We'll just flash that for a second. Yeah, you can read the words right there. You guys will pause your thing and review it. What was that? Little tiny text on there. But yeah, plenty of stuff to give away, so don't feel left out because you're catching the Deckman with the Squire 50th episode. I won't be able to give out any draft packs for obvious reason right now. I do have to kind of win some drafts and get some more packs in now, but yeah, that's pretty much it there. So I guess moving on to the free 1v1 constructed queue. This is something that Hex put out, and they said that it was going to be good to have for all the people that are doing like Rock League, Budget Cup, or any of their Pro series, like the Hex CCG Pro Challenge series, which I don't think there'll be another one of those until Set 2 comes out, honestly. The problem with that was that I think it's going to run off the queue system. I don't think you get to choose who you play against, and it needs to do that anyways, because otherwise, like, I could take 2 accounts, queue against myself, and win. And if there are rewards, it depends. If there are rewards associated with it, then that's a problem. If there are no rewards, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
I can tell you about it.
Okay.
So basically, it's in the tournament queue section under the tournaments. And it's just a constructed 0 out of 2 participants, and as soon as 2 people get in there, it fires off.
Mm-hmm.
And it also will show the results down at the bottom with the same with all the other drafts,
right?
And the constructed and sealeds. So you can't challenge anybody. You can't. There's no way to be like,
right,
"Hey Charles, me and you, let's go do that." And
right.
Because as soon as one of us enters, if somebody else gets in there before we do, it just automatically fires off.
Yeah, so it would take some coordination where you would have to be like, all right, first set, second set, third set, which would really more or less drag down most of these things that are trying to happen in one day. So it's really not viable for that. At least that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay for, I guess,
maybe an 8-man. That you were
Rock
trying to,
League,
like,
it's kind of okay for.
Yeah, Rock League it will work, sure.
Because it doesn't matter who you play with as long as they're playing Rock League as well.
Right.
And you didn't play them the previous week, so it's good for something like that. But for something like the Hex TCG Pro Challenge Series,
yeah,
or maybe Hex Tex, or something like that, it's not going to be good because they already do their pairings somewhere else.
Right.
So you have to play a specific person.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the only thing with it. But this does tell us that they're very close to having best of 3 matches. They just put it in the tournament queue, so they just need to take that functionality and then put it over in the regular, in the challenge, what is it called? In the Proving Grounds. That's all they really need to do. So it shouldn't, hopefully, take too much to take that functionality and move it over, I would think. So, moving on. Hex update Shattered Destiny November 32nd. Yeah, help me out. Is there a November 32nd? Is that a thing?
Well, according to the article, they're going to make it a thing. Basically,
well, then I'm going to have to start celebrating it.
Yeah, they wanted to, have it come out in November, but due to the holidays and just timing all around, they didn't want to make it so that people would have to reschedule for VIP and all that kind of stuff. So they call it November 2nd, but it's actually December 2nd.
Right. So do you feel like there was any disingenuity with it? Because, like, in the Reddit forums, there was some people that complained. Of course, there's always going to be complainers. I think it's fine. It's only, 2 days later, and then they're going to do the tournaments the next weekend. So this gives us another shot at getting those AA Inquisitors and, what do you call them, the other one, Menacing Gralk.
Menacing Gralk?
Yeah, and I kind of need mines. Or, well, I'd like to have some of mine.
Well, it's going to be constructed at the end of this month.
Right.
So, but the good thing is that we're going to have this. I mean, this is going to be a lot of alternate arts hitting the economy. So it's a really good opportunity to probably snatch up some of those.
Right.
We should
your
see
playset if you don't win or if you don't do well. You get your one copy for getting two and two. Then you can get the one last one you need off the auction house.
And hopefully we'll see the price drop even more for those that are trying to get their playset complete but don't have that much platinum on them.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So let's talk about the card that they revealed here. We've seen Scheme before, so we're really not going to talk about that too much. I don't think we've seen this Reese Crust Crawler before. I don't believe so. So he's 5 cost, 1 Sapphire Threshold, tunneling 4, which tunneling is you pay 2, you tunnel it, it goes face down, and then for that one, in 4 turns, he turns face up. And it says at the end of your turn, create a worker bot and put it into play. That's his basic ability, and then when it surfaces, he gets, if one of your cards or effects would create a worker bot, then create a random robot instead. I think this card's pretty bouse. The thing I have to ask about it, though, is for some reason, let's say that you wanted to tunnel 2 of them because they're unique, they're not in play. That should be doable, right? I would think.
Yeah, I think you could tunnel both of them, but once the second one comes into play,
then
the first one would.
The oldest one, yeah. The oldest one goes, the newest one stays, is how it works.
Right.
Yeah, so actually I misread this before the program. I thought that while it was tunneled, it was going to make some worker bots, but apparently that's not how it works.
Maybe maybe there's some tunneling where a card that affects tunneling, where it's like if your ability, if your troops have a tunneling ability while tunneled, it happens anyways, or something.
Like a pass, or what do they call that? A triggered ability. Yeah, this would be a triggered ability. Okay, so moving on to and that's actually another thing about this, one last thing, it happens at the end of play, so after he gets revealed, you don't have to wait a full turn for the start of turn, so you will get his effect right away, given that he doesn't get killed or murdered right away. Moving on, they talk about the release celebration a little bit. There's going to be some more stuff being released as far as spoilers and things on their Twitch channel and Gameforge. I'm guessing some of their special Twitch streamers are probably going to be streaming with Set 2 early. But then you've got Darkspire Punisher is being shown here. I don't think I've seen this one either. 3 and 2 blood threshold. When this dies, it's a 2/2. When it dies, choose at random. Each opposing champion discards a card at random, or search your deck for a troop with Darkspire in its name and put it into your hands. Another great Darkspire card for that cycle. I think it's going to make drafting Darkspire in blood, just mono blood for Darkspire, or blood with a splash of something, a very viable thing in draft. I think that there's a very good chance we're going to see some sort of at least a tier 2 Darkspire deck out there. It might be mono blood, or it might be sapphire blood or something like that. So this is also an orc, so it maybe you'll have some orcs, but probably not. It'll go into Ruby. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, you have I'm trying to remember the Darkspire Tyrant. Is that the one they revealed a couple weeks back?
That's he's Tyrant. He's the body. Yeah, he's a pretty big body.
Yeah, he's super strong. I think he's like a 5 or 6'3", I believe.
Right.
And he has a really great ability that will work really well with these Darkspires, and I think if you open up on him in a draft, it will definitely make you want to go Darkspire.
Yeah, I just think that it's amazing the card advantage that you get with these. I mean, for the most part, this guy's card advantage no matter what, but probably Darkspire Priestess is sometimes card advantage, where it is that you can draw another Darkspire card and put it into your hand. There's really playing with Extinction and Darkspire, I'm really not seeing too much of a downside, because chances are you're going to be able to just refill the board anyways, even if you dump 3 of your Darkspire cards because you have to for some reason. Moving on, Phil Cape. So this guy actually did get released earlier, or spoiled or something, because I saw the alternate art. This is the alternate art you're going to get just for playing in the celebration tournaments. It's pretty sweet art there for a
No, you get it for the win.
Oh, you get it for the win. Oh,
This is the prize.
what's
The
the
Darkspire.
The Darkspire is the participate. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the Filk Ape. I was like, that's crazy. I'm giving away this card. So, okay. 4/5. It's a 5 and 2 wild threshold. It says at the end of your turn, revert all troops. So this is, I think, a pretty boss card. It's going to shape your deck quite a bit because you're not going to be able to play with some of the other cards that you want to play with that like buff your cards. We've seen already in set 2 there's a 4/4 that every time you gain a charge you can buff any of the cards you haven't played, including itself. +2/+2, a lot like the Wild Root Dancer does whenever you play a resource. This Filk Ape kind of is not the card you want to be playing with that. It becomes too much of a clunky strategy at that point. But it is 5, so it does work very well with what's his name? I have one on my list actually with Puck the Dreamer, because he is 5. So I mean that's pretty sweet. He'd be okay with, if you're running Jadim, I don't think that's too much of a problem because Jadim isn't like she used to be. She's now, you know, like before in Alpha, she kept all of her buffs. Now she loses them at the end of turn anyways. So this is at the end of the turn anyway, so it doesn't really affect her as much. I don't know. I really like the card. I think it's at least reserves playable. It's probably main deck playable, to be honest, though. I'm trying to think of what the other things are that it would really affect.
We had a listener give us a suggestion that Filk Ape would be really good with Time Step Wizard. Time Step Wizard, for those that don't know, is a Sapphire troop that has a one-shot ability where you get to remove a human from play and bring it back into play. So it would be really good because Filk Ape would give you one-shot abilities over and over again every turn.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the reversion.
Right. Yeah, that would be sweet. I think, yeah, I do remember hearing that on your podcast actually now. So, yeah, I had heard about this card. I just kind of filed it away, I guess. Some of the competitive queue rewards are set up here for when it is that we're doing the celebration tournaments. Those are going to happen that weekend, so it's going to start on the Friday and end on the Saturday. And then the book that was announced way back during Alpha, or during actually the Kickstarter, is being released on November 18th. So that's pretty awesome, and everybody that was a Kickstarter backer, I'm guessing they'll get their digital copy, and then or you can just download it if you didn't do Kickstarter for $5 on Amazon. So that's pretty reasonable. I don't know how often books and things go on sale on Amazon, and I know that Amazon Prime is like pretty awesome to have, so I don't know if that helps defer costs on this as well. If you know anybody, I think you can do things like trade stuff, right? Like digital. Can you do digital trades with Amazon?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Not really sure.
But I mean, it's $5. It's, you know, less than the cost of fast food these days. So pretty reasonable, especially if you're a reader and you want to get into the lore of Hex. I'm pretty excited to get in there and see what she's got cooking there. Then they talked about the two-player queues. Yes.
I should bring up that something special about those special tournaments that are going to be happening that first weekend of December for the Set 2 release. They will be all Set 2 packs for both draft and sealed.
Well, that is true, yes, because it's going to be, what is it, a 1-2 or is it a 2-1 for drafting, right?
No, it's going to be,
well, I mean like after the fact. It's a 2-1.
After the fact, it should be 2 Set 2 and 1 Set 1 pack. But for that weekend, it will be 3 Set 3 packs for draft, and it will be giving away prizes for both competitive and Swiss, and also both for sealed. And sealed will be 6 Set 2 packs for that weekend.
So with Set 2 coming out, we've seen other games that do multiple different queues. So like maybe you want to draft all Set 2, or maybe you want to draft all Set 1, or maybe you want to do the like parts of one or the other. Do you think that we're going to see those queues? I think they already announced that they weren't, but I mean, if the community wanted them enough, and maybe they started some, I don't know, 900-page forum post on the on the Hex main website, do you think that they would cave in on something like that to at least give us, if you want to play set 1,
I mean,
3 packs, you think you could, or no, not so much?
I mean, I think you could easily. I mean, I guess I wanted to see multiple draft queues for depending on what you wanted to do, just because it'd be great for us to have the pro player tickets. Every week we could just jump into 3 set 2 packs.
Sure.
But and also for those new players that come in once after set 2 is released, they won't really have the experience of drafting just set 1.
Right.
So
right, and we just opened it up too. I mean, this is basically like, set 1 is very new to a lot of people. In fact, I'm seeing articles written about decks that we had tried out like last year. Interestingly enough, they're very well written articles, but they are concepts that we've already kind of brushed over, which is quite interesting to see. I don't know if there's anything else to really talk about here. Do make sure that you're following, and I am trying to get everybody in the channel a rare card, and possibly one person a primal pack, rare or legendary. I've got a list here in front of me. So if you haven't followed, do that before we head on. I mean, is there anything else you want to touch on before we move on to the Deck Doctor?
I mean, I keep reminding people that Rock League's going on right now. It's a great way. If people are new to the game, like you said, it just opened up a little while ago. So you might have these new players that are coming into the game, maybe catching your stream for the first or second time since it's opened, and maybe want to know more about like what they can do, because this game it's partially advertised as a free-to-play game, or that it's supposed it's going to be free-to-play.
Yeah, that's getting somewhat painful too, to keep trying to. We see the same posts over and over again. On Reddit, I'm sure you see the same posts over and over again. Also on the main forums, I don't frequent them as much. So yeah, it's one of those things you have to keep re-educating the populace.
So yeah, when we recorded the other night, we had our listener write in that wanted to know like what else there was to do in the game that where they didn't have to spend money, because they said they played in a draft. They had really a lot of fun with it.
Right.
But it consumed like 4 hours of their time, and it cost $7 pretty much for them, and they just want to know what else they could do. And I was like, well, the Rock League, that's the best thing probably to do right now.
Yeah.
You have Crone over there. He's giving away prizes randomly to people, also to people that do really well in the Rock League, and it's just commons and uncommons.
Yeah.
So.
And when you're
it's
talking
not that hard
about
to
like
obtain.
that population of people that plays MMOs, because this is supposed to be an MMO TCG, an MMO has a time sink element to it, where you're grinding or doing things, or doing the dungeons over and over, trying to get the gear and all this stuff. So I think that's really going to hopefully satisfy people once it finally comes out, because you do have different people at different stages of life. For like myself, I only have so much time to do the show and then draft. I can draft like once a week and do a couple of other things, but I have, I'm trying to work on my degree, I've got development stuff, and I've got 3 kids and a wife, so I'm very, like, my time is very much more limited than somebody that's either in high school or maybe in college, depending on their degree. So, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I have decent amount of income, so I can do, like, the pay stuff, but, like, for somebody that doesn't have a job, is in high school, yeah, we really need to get that PvE stuff online for sure. So, alright, so let's do the Deck Doctor. So last time we were on Deck Building with the Squire with Threshold Matt, I believe we built kind of almost a mill deck where it was trying to get Lancaster into play, right?
Yeah.
Reginald.
Yeah, Reginald.
So we're not going to do that tonight. We're just going to build a regular mill deck, win by mill. Now, I did think about a couple of different things. Now, some of this stuff you guys may have already heard from Infamous Neo. He actually has a little bit more of a competitive mill deck, but we're going to talk about a lot of theory first off, and then we're going to try to dive right in on it. So we're going to look at our mill cards first. So let's see. I think if I type in discard, it might give me everything. Discard.
Well, they call it Barry.
Barry.
Yeah, Fate Rack has Barry. I think Chronic Madness has Barry.
URY. Let's see if that comes up that way. Alright, so like the linchpin to this deck is Chronic Madness. Now we've talked about this quite a bit. It doesn't affect board state. It just simply mills. It's a straight up mill, but it escalates. Escalation in its old incarnation used to double. Now it doesn't do that. It's just additive. So the first time you play Chronic Madness, it's going to mill your opponent for 4. The next time it's going to do 8, and then on and on and on, 12, 16, you know, ad nauseum. The thing is, like, if somebody in their opening hand like draws 4 Chronic Madness, they basically get a free win. Because it's 4 the first time, then 8, that's 12, plus another 12, that's 24, plus another 16, which puts you at 40 cards. Yeah, 40 or 50. Is that 50? Let's see.
It's most likely 40.
Yeah, 24 and 16 is 30, 40. Yeah, it's 40 cards, and they draw 7 in their opening hand, and then you're on turn whatever. So they only have 20 cards in their deck at that point in time, and then you just mill them for a couple more, and you're basically there. So usually they can't deal enough damage to get through before they're dead from that. Yeah, 40 is, yeah, math, right? So this is definitely going in the deck, right there. We got to be careful though with how many cards we decide to put in our deck that actually do the milling. I'm not seeing a lot of other things. Spawn of Uthieg's another one. The problem is that this is a body, so it's easily removed. It's kind of nice, but at the same time, it doesn't really block for us. We really need things to stall our board state when we're talking about this deck. A little bit sick, so sorry about all the sniffling. Although there aren't children here, they're all at Chick-fil-A. I managed to get my wife to take them to Chick-fil-A, and that was, we had to do some, I had to do some dealing there too. So yeah, Twisted Fate's another one. When you draw a card, bury the top card of the opposing champion's deck. If you decided to play this, you would probably not play Chronic Madness. Twisted Fate has its own thing where maybe if you're drawing a lot of cards, maybe if we had something like X draw cards, maybe that might be better. Better way to go. It's removable, so I mean there's that. But for this deck, I think we're gonna go with Chronic Madness, and that's pretty much the. And then of course we got the Fate Rack. This is another one we might one of or two of in the deck. We'll think about it, but you know, I guess we'll put 2 in there right now. Matt, what do you think about some of these card choices I'm making so far? Am I going? You think I'm going off path or anything, or would you make some different choices?
You know, currently in set 1, you're kind of limited on what you're going to do with mill.
Right.
If you went the Twisted Fate route, you would have to probably put in, you know, Oracle songs.
Oracle songs, yeah, play those.
You might play. I don't think you would play the.
You might go into Wild, so you can like cantrip or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, you could probably play, you know, the Sensei.
You're probably going to play Sensei, and then you'll play, what's his name? The Ancestors Chosen.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, in that deck, you're probably only 2 of the Twisted Fate. It's just an alternate win condition at that point. You know, it's not really the main deal. We also, speaking of alternate win conditions, we want to have an alternate win condition in this deck. And so, the first thing that came to my mind is I have lots of cards in my opponent's graveyard. Or, yeah, we call it a graveyard, right? So the first thing that came to my mind was, you know what? The thing is, Uruunaz is probably going to be one of the a nice bomb to have at my top end. Most of the rest of my cards are just going to try to stop my opponent. But Uruunaz is looking for stuff in the graveyard to get me card advantage. So I think playing 2 of these is fine, because this is what Control is going to want to do anyways. You're going to want to play this Uruunaz and then mill your opponent out with that.
I was thinking,
or not mill your opponent. I'm sorry, not mill, but this is just an alternate win condition. So,
how does Relentless Corruption read?
So Relentless Corruption is another one that we will be playing in this deck because it virtually mills your opponent. And by saying that, you're drawing your opponent's cards, which means they're not drawing them, and that's less cards in their deck. So that's like virtual mill.
Does it read that you draw the cards?
Yeah, they go away from your opponent's deck. In fact, back when I was playing Sapphire Blood Control, I actually did beat people by simply milling them with Relentless Corruption by itself.
I'm curious how it would work with Twisted Fate.
It's not a problem. It's somewhat of a problem because yes, they compete with each other to get redrawn into your hands. But beyond that, like if you're trying to
No,
mill,
you're thinking no. Twisted Fate would be whenever you draw a card,
oh,
they
Twisted
discard a
Fate.
card,
Whenever I
or
draw a card,
they
I
yeah.
I
So I
think
don't
it might
know.
work.
How does Relentless Corruption read? Does it say you draw
Oh
cards?
no, it says put the top card. So
Ah,
that's
okay.
not drawing it. It
Yeah.
doesn't say draw a card. So
Yeah. Okay.
but it may still work. It might still be coded that way. But yeah. So talking about Neo a little bit more here, with his version of the mill deck, he's running a lot of stall that you typically see when you're talking about like Mono Sapphire. So like Menacing Gralk, Mastery of Time he's playing in there as well. I guess that's an okay choice. I'd have to play. He's obviously played it more than I have. It's legendary, so if you can't get a hold of it, I don't think that it's completely something that you're really going to need in here, but the Gralk is a nice blocker, and it does buy you a turn. This is obviously one of the chase cards for this set. So this is kind of going to end up becoming a more expensive deck, of course. Extinction is an obvious choice here for the stall. Now, the big thing with Extinction is you're going to wait till you feel like your opponent is committed to the board to a place where it is that you can get it, hopefully a 3-for-1. It just depends on how your opponent's playing. We're not seeing a lot of stuff that Extinction, like you Extinction and then it comes back into play, or like it produces some other body that you now have to deal with. That it would have been better to just place the troop out of play or something. But yeah, it's kind of a must, I would say.
So are we thinking about our curve while we're doing this?
Not especially right now. We'll get our curve like when we're pulling cards out of the deck. Usually I throw in all my ideas first, and then after that we start making curve decisions after that. Another card that I thought about was, and this is again, I'm sorry to do all this to you guys, but this is another chase card, the Ancestors Chosen. I don't know. This was another one for maybe an alternate win condition. It draws you cards. That might actually be better in the other deck, though, if we just didn't run Chronic Madness. So I don't know. I was thinking about it. I'm not sure if I'm on board with it now.
I mean, like I say, if you're thinking about your curve, it could help.
Sure.
But also, I mean, yeah. If you're worried about early game, I think Ancestors Chosen could be good.
Putting Zombie Plague in here because that's another one that virtually mills and it gives us blockers. So that's a pretty obvious choice that you can play in here. It could actually win you a game if you were in an open board state and you had like 6 zombies in play or something. That's a chance that could happen. I like having the Gralks. What else have we got that we could do with the mill? So we'll put the Ancestors Chosen in here. We'll put 2 of them in here for now.
Unity Gaming over in the chat is saying, what about Inquisitor with Mill Gem?
Yeah, so we can do that as well. That's another one that Neo is playing. Because it mills for 4, right?
Correct. It mills for attack and defense together.
Right, so that does mill for 4. We'll go ahead and put the alternate art Inquisitor in here because we can. Because we're cool. At least we want to feel like we're cool. Alright, so Murder's another obvious choice. Our 2-point range is really pretty sparse right now. So we do have to look at that. So we may end up playing something to bounce our troops with. Like
I mean, we're gonna play Shroomshaw and Boltpaw Wizard. All right, so Shroomshaw is gonna cover our 2-drop. It's gonna give us 3 troops for blocking, and then our Boltpaw can mill when we sacrifice troops. Yeah. What are we gonna put a corpse fly in? I feel like bad if you're playing blood and not playing corpse flies.
Play at least one corpse fly. Yeah, we'll throw them on the reserves for now, and we might. I mean, you definitely are going to want some, for sure. That's another, like, we've seen that it dominates both constructed and limited play.
And I'm like, well, are you going to play Inquisition now?
it's a possibility. Like, yeah, we probably will want it to just, we want to stall, and Inquisition does do that very, very well for us. The problem is, again, it's a double threshold, so we haven't even chosen our champion yet, but we're kind of tending towards maybe the blood. Let's see, what's our deck analysis right now? Yeah, we got 50 blood.
Yeah. I was going to say,
here.
you know, we sure are leaning really far away from Mill.
In a way,
like,
but like we still have the core of Mill in here.
It's like, well, yeah, but now that I'm thinking about it, let's
just build a control deck. No,
you got Soul Marble that we could be playing right now, and Diamond. We should just let's move over. Let's play some repels. That's a lot of removal. Solitary Exiles. You know, we just start building a completely different deck. I feel like.
Oh, it would not surprise me in the least. Let's see, what else could we put in here that makes sense? Some sense. We're trying to make sense. I do still like Infusion Device, maybe as a 1 or 2 of for fixing, especially with the so much double threshold right now in the deck.
Greedy Jawa wants you to play Spawn of whatever.
Spawn of Uthieg.
Whatever that.
Yeah,
is.
we talked about that earlier. Spawn is, again, like, it doesn't defend well. That's the biggest problem I have with it.
Here's my question. So we're building a Mill deck currently.
Right.
Have you seen? Would you play like Skewed in the Mill deck once Set 2 comes out?
Skewed does what? I have to
or not Screwed. What?
Scheme. Scheme as maybe if I played it in any decks at all, I would play it maybe as a 2 of maximum. I would probably play a 1 of because it does a similar effect.
You got to scheme your schemes, man. You got to scheme your schemes.
Yeah, I do remember us talking about that. Oh, good times.
You got to scheme your schemes, and then once you schemed your schemes, you scheme your schemes, and then but you have like 50 chronic madnesses in your deck, you know.
Yeah, and you would not have died before that time. You know, there's no possible way that you would have died.
No, because I schemed Immortalities too, maybe.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, Scheme is a maximum 2 of in a deck because it sets you behind. You're setting up. Your deck building is what you're doing. You're deck building for hopefully a better deck that you'll be able to win with eventually. But it may not actually give you any cards. So it's got both sides. Sorrow's another maybe here. So I'm pulling stuff, some other things in here, some Sapphire stuff. Put Mastery of Time, I guess. We'll think about that. We've got about 12 minutes to finish this deck. Of course, I've done worse. I almost might as well start playing with set two cards because it's right around the corner. I did think about. I think on the 75th episode, what I might do is build a deck, and whatever deck I build, I'll build a nice, powerful deck, and that'll be the giveaway on that one, on the 75th episode, when deck building the Squire turns 75. Okay, so we need to put some shards in here, so I'm just going to go with the 10, 10, and 4 right now.
Greedy Jawa says you need to add some Zodiac Shamans.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's a good thing you're here, monitoring my chat for me. Otherwise, I would completely miss it. Zodiac Shaman. Oh, we didn't pick our champion. So we'll probably end up playing Zared, which is boring, I know. Or we could play my throwback, which is what's his name? Wyatt the Sapper. I think I like
Wyatt how you're not even playing. You're like, let's make guys, we want to make a Mill deck. By the way, we're totally ignoring the Mill champion.
We can play the Mill champion, but we want to be able to draw. Like he mills 2 cards at a time.
I think it's a she, isn't it? Isn't it a she?
Is she?
I think it's a she.
Messing this up. Where is she? He. I don't know. It looks like a he. Oh, it is. It's kind of feminine. I don't know. It's really hard to. Nin. Is that a guy name or a girl name? Maybe it's a guy-girl name. It's a shadow. It probably doesn't. Maybe it's like asexual, like Yoshi.
In Intrast, genders are skewed. All right.
Yeah. Like Yoshi makes more Yoshi, so he's asexual, right? So, that's how that works.
But I think once, and another thing to point out is like once set 2 comes out, there's going to be tons of cards that are giving you a lot of charges. So
Right.
this champion will probably be
set 2
able
will definitely
to
make her more viable. Her.
You'll be able to probably mill every turn.
It's possible. It's very possible. Okay, so we need to dump at least 20 cards here. And we've got about 9 minutes to do it. So let's see if we can do it here.
All right, so we're going to cut the Chronic Madnesses.
Atrocious. So
cut the Chronic Madnesses. We're going to cut.
No, we're not cutting the Chronic Madnesses. Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut the Ancestor Chosen. I just don't think he's really what this deck's trying to do. We're trying to stall. So we need as much stall as possible. Stormcall is an excellent choice for this deck. You might actually even play 4 of these, just because like it's like Extinction kills things on your turn, and your opponent can replay stuff. Whereas with Stormcall, let's say they were playing a lot of stuff with what is it called? Rage, not Rage, where he comes into play and can attack. I want to say the other term that another game used. Speed, yeah. Speed. So say they're playing Speed, you can Stormcall their stuff, which is pretty sweet, and then you buy yourself a full turn. The problem is it doesn't actually get rid of the stuff on the table. That's the only downside there. But it's pretty nice when your opponent's trying to surprise you. You're like double surprise right back in your face.
Bill Stang 460 reminds me of Mortar Strike, which is over in the Ruby section. I forget that does mill.
It does mill.
Yeah,
at a very high expense it mills.
Well, I mean, you say high. I mean, it does removal and mill. So,
as a one of maybe if we were in Ruby, we could consider it. But we're.
Look, I'm just telling you, man. It's when you think about it, it's pretty good because it does both, and it also I've always argued that to me the milling is really nice because it gives you knowledge of what's upcoming. Like, so
True.
If it doesn't mill,
I can agree with that.
Like, there's nothing more than I like to see empty hands and them get milled with a Mortar Strike and not anything end up in the discard pile.
Right.
That's just, I'm like, oh yes, I'm just going to be swinging for days with my troops that I have on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we really need to pare down our 3-point range now. It's getting out of control. It's like some sort of bang, like when you go to get your hair cut or something.
Are you playing 4 murders, or are you just going to play like 3?
I think I got 2 in there right now is what it looks like.
2.
Extinction's definite 4 of. There's really no two ways about that. Zombie play can probably go down to a 1 of. Zombie play's nice, but it's
I would just throw that in the
slow.
Reserves.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably best. Yeah, let's just throw it in the reserves as like maybe a 2
bring it
or 3
in
of.
when you come up against Ruby aggro,
Yeah, maybe it'll give you something to block that. What's it called with the Falconeer? Maybe you can get something to block Falconeer with or something. I'm gonna get these Buccaneers down to 2. I think that's fine. And like I've always said, like if you are in between and you don't know exactly the ratios on things for your deck that you've really decided on, you can always like throw them in the reserves if you're doing a casual event, and you can always bring them in later if you feel like they would be good in a certain matchup. It's always one way you can go. I'm really not feeling this Mastery of Time. I know Neo's playing it in his version of this deck. I don't know. I just don't really feel it. I mean, I understand it's going to cantrip us at minimum, and it could ramp us a shard, but I don't know. I'm just really not feeling it in here. The Uruunaz I like though.
Mastery of Time.
Yeah.
How that cantrip?
It basically you draw another. You get.
I guess
to play,
for your next turn.
You start another turn, so you draw a card with it. So it cantrips you, minimum, and it could ramp you. Depending on if you have a shard in hand or you draw into one, but that could be a bad situation you're already in anyways. I took the Stormcall down to 1, but you may want to play 2 of these. We're just trying to get things within standards here.
I would probably play how many Menacing Gralks? I would always probably play Menacing Gralk over Stormcall.
I'm playing 2 Menacing Gralk right now, so maybe jump the Menacing Gralk up. Well, no, we need to get. Maybe I'll just let's throw the Stormcall in the reserves. This is a big one, a metagame call versus that Ruby Sapphire aggro again with the what is it called? The Falconeer and the Gore Feast, of course. Yeah, the Gore Feast. Gore Feastin'. I'm not even sure we need this many counter magic in here, honestly. I think we can take that down to maybe 2 safely and throw the other 2 on the reserves. A lot of 2-ofs right now in this deck. But we are doing a lot of this for curve and time reasons. We need to get rid of 1 more card before... I have 24 shards. I don't know if I can play 23 in here. I feel like my curve is such that I'm more in this 3, 4, 5 range. So I feel like we need 24 cards. We aren't drawing any cards, though, either. So there is that to think about.
And we're going with Zared?
I think we need to go with Zared, yeah, because we're at 41 blood icons right now and 20 sapphire icons. So that's quite a bit.
Are you... What's you still playing the Uruunaz
right now? Yeah, I'm still playing Uruunaz. I could take that down to 1 probably. I do like him because again, like in an open board state, if your opponent can't deal with flyers or something, and you basically start pulling their cards back that you've milled from them, it seems like a pretty sweet, a good situation to be in. Again, you'd have to play with it to figure out. Most control decks play like that 1 big bomb at the top of their curve, and then they just defend him. With the counter magic, you're going to defend them. Of course, we did pull 2 of the counter magic, so we could always throw another Uruunaz on the reserves, and if you feel like the game's going to go long anyways, you can always throw the extra 2 counter magic in and the extra Uruunaz. Another thing with Uruunaz that you're going to want to remember is like when you're sitting on him in your hand and you're thinking about playing him and you don't have counter magic, or if you can't play him and play counter magic, chances are pretty good that you probably should just not play him. You need to be able to defend him. He doesn't have spell shield. You aren't really playing spell shield, the quick action spell shield.
Spell shield.
Playing that.
Speaking of that, why not take out Uruunaz and put in a Storm Colossus?
You could. I'm just trying to like work with the mill strategy here, but yeah, Storm Colossus would also be a really good choice here, especially because we do need more Sapphire threshold type stuff in here. But yeah, that would be probably a better choice actually. It blocks really well for us and can hold on to board states reasonably well. But yeah, I think that this is mostly going to be it. We just need to figure out shards. I think we're going to switch our champion over to Zared. We've got about 2 minutes to wrap up the episode. I will do the reserves, and those will be on the YouTube comments, so look for those down below. Of course, I always post the deck list for all you people that don't want to watch the episode, just like, what's the deck he built? So you can always look down there. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the shards done here. So we're at 38 shards that are blood and 20 sapphire. So probably something that's like probably like a 13-7, I think. Let's look at how much double threshold we have.
37. You're only playing 20 shards.
24. I've got the
four shards of fate.
The obligatory 4 shards of fate. We've got counter magic, but we only have 2 of those. Most of our sapphire stuff is single threshold, so I think we should be good. And the things that are double or more are Menacing Gralk, which is pretty pricey, and then the counter magic. So hopefully by that time we would have the threshold. Additionally, we're playing with Relentless Corruption, which can draw us our opponent's shards. So that's another thing, like playing Relentless Corruption plus Wyatt the Sapper. If you're drawing your opponent's shards, you can then play those shards and draw more cards. Play more shards, draw more cards. So you're really going to have to weigh those 2 things and figure out exactly what works best for you, if it's going to be Wyatt or Zared. Wyatt's a little bit more risky right now, the way the deck is built. Zared's probably going to be better because you're going to get to that threshold a little bit better. Matt, did you have any other suggestions or anything? I feel like
if you could just scrap all of the blood and go Ruby. And then we'll just throw Reginald in there, and
next time we'll do Reginald again next time. How about that? You meet me for the 75th episode?
Reginald Revisited.
Yes, we'll revisit Reginald and see what we can do with that. He's actually seen play a little bit in the Sapphire Diamond Humans deck. Sapphire, yeah, that one. He actually sees a little bit of play, at least in reserve. Oh no, wait. Sapphire Ruby Diamond Humans, or maybe it's Sapphire Ruby Humans. There's our Humans deck that he goes in. That's like a tier 1.5 deck it's it's pretty good. I'm looking for Zared right now. Where is he? I just type it in. I need to get rid of Wyatt. Well, yeah, get rid of him. XAR. That's our locks. Maybe it's X. No, am I spelling it wrong? I'm spelling it wrong, aren't I? Can't spell. Also, I can't dance. Type.
You can't
Champion.
sing?
I can't sing. Only thing about me is the way that I walk. I think I missed a part there. So Zared goes in here. One more thing I want to talk about right before we get out of the deck, Doctor, is a lot of people were running the Booby Trap, which is a card that puts 4 Booby Traps in your opponent's deck, and then you mill them, and each Booby Trap deals 4 damage. It used to deal 5. That's another deck where I feel like we're going in too deep on the mill. Like with this deck, we have an alternate win condition, which is Uruunaz. So I feel like that's a better direction to go. We don't have to commit too much of the deck. We basically commit 1 card slot for that. But we're still milling. Plus we have Relentless Corruption, which can draw cards out of our opponent's deck, which could also put us in a position to win. With Relentless Corruption, you're definitely going to want more blood anyway, so that way you can, because it's going to turn the icons on your opponent's cards into blood icons. So you need to be able to play them, especially if for some reason they're playing like Fists of Brigadon or something. I don't know. So that's pretty much it. So Matt, real quick, plug the Threshold podcast for the people if they haven't heard about it yet, which they should have. Everybody should have heard about the Threshold podcast.
Well, you can find us over on iTunes, Threshold, the Hex Podcast. You can also visit our website at thresholdpodcast.com. It's me, Josh Augustine, Eric Belsauce, Jeff Wyckoff, and Alex Hexplain. He is Hexplain over on Twitter. So me and him, we don't like our last names so much. So we've went to the courts and we've changed them.
Oh,
so
there you go. A lot like when that one lady changed her name to Turok, the dinosaur. You remember that?
But yeah, I don't remember that at all. But I'll laugh and I'll agree with you that it happened.
It definitely happened in the 90s.
Yeah, we're a weekly podcast, and we just talk about what's going on in the community of Hex, and we don't really cover the competitive side of it so much, but just more like the casual side of it.
It's a great listen. You guys, if you haven't heard of it and you're in a podcasting or listening to podcasts rather, yeah, make sure to check those guys out and also support them by giving them a thumbs up on iTunes. I don't even have an iTunes account, and I need to start one just so I can give them a thumbs up because I listen to them.
Well, all the cool kids are making podcasts, Charles.
I know, and now here I am doing this vodcast. I mean, what's that? What is up with that?
Yeah, what's up? What's up with that?
What is up with that? All right, so tonight on Decking with the Squire, we talked about the 50th episode of Decking with the Squire. So congratulations. I don't have any streamers or anything or some graphics to come down, unfortunately. We talked about the lawsuit update. It really wasn't too much to talk about there, and there's not a lot we can do about it anyways. We went over the YouTube giveaway and how I basically got spammed with new viewers, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. I now have 400 followers on YouTube, which is pretty sweet, and I have no packs of cards anymore, so that's good too, in a way for the community. So we also talked about Set 2 and the upcoming release of that on November 32nd, because that's a thing, and the 1v1 queues, and we did this wonderful mill deck. And Matt was so wonderful to grace us with his presence. So thanks for stopping by, Matt. Yeah. So until next time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Are we going to give away some stuff?
We are going to give away. We have to close out the episode first, man.
Oh, so we don't give it out right now, so people can regret not being live.
We're going to stay live. But we're going to close out the episode. I'm going to stop the local recording, and then I'm sorry, I didn't explain this beforehand. I know
those poor people that they're going to miss out on that car you're giving away.
We're not giving away. We are giving away stuff. We're just not giving away now. We're going to
all
close
those
out the
cars.
episode. This is for YouTube right now. This is for the YouTube. So I'm going to have to do all this editing now. Actually, I probably won't do it.
Nah, don't do the editing. You got it.
We'll just do this funny conversation instead.
These people must know that are watching on YouTube what they're missing out on for the live
We'll
version.
do. I'll do. You know what I'll do? I'll start another local recording, and I'll have that as a separate video, so they'll know what they're missing out on.
Okay.
So,
all those cars.
All those cars.
Keys to the castle.
Right. So, until next time, until next time, is Zared Squire signing off, saying God bless you and your family. Is trying to rage too much out there, and Matt from the Threshold Podcast saying, I don't know. I guess he doesn't want to say.
Did you say don't race too much?
I said don't rage too much. Don't try not to
rage.
Too much out there.
I was
That's
like,
my thing.
do you have like a lot of drag racing out there where you're at or something? Is it like people just?
No.
I'll say may the shards in your hand be at least 3
with you.
Well, at least 2 and no more than 3. Yep.